What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving an update on my experience having my Toyota Tacoma tuned for the last 4 months. In addition to that, I want to address some of the questions that I had in the comments of my previous video, because there's a lot of good questions that were asked on that video. And I also want to talk about whether or not I think you guys should go and get your Tacomas tuned, and talk about some of the different scenarios and situations where I think you might want to go get your truck tuned or you might not want to. So it's going to be a pretty cool video with a lot of information, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Real quick, before I get into the video, I just wanted to say a thank you to you guys for getting me to 2,500 subscribers. I'm super pumped about it. I hit it a little while back, but forgot to do a thank you, so my apologies for that. But thank you guys so much for everything you're doing for me, liking the videos, watching the full video, commenting, sharing it. All of that really helps out the channel. And that said, guys, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the little notification bell so you know when my new videos are coming out. Okay, so I wanted to start this video off just kind of talking real quick about my experience having my truck tuned the last 4 months or so. At this point, I'm definitely out of the honeymoon phase with it and I'm totally used to it. So I will say my thoughts on the tune haven't really changed too much from that first video. So if you haven't seen that video, go back real quick and watch it, because that's kind of my initial raw reactions of the difference between stock and the tune. At this point, having my truck been tuned for the last 4 months, I honestly don't even remember how crappy it drove stock. So I can't really specifically point out again what the difference is and how much better it is, but just know it's a lot better having my truck tuned. I have never looked back and I won't. So definitely go watch that video real quick and then come back to this one for the rest of the information in the video. That said, guys, I have absolutely been loving my tune on my truck. It's a completely different vehicle for me, and I truly mean that. So in that first video, the main things I kind of talked about was just the shift points being better and it feeling like a smoother ride overall. That's still completely true. The ride is super smooth and it just feels like a normal vehicle driving. It doesn't feel like it's doing anything stupid or downshift, crazy upshift, anything like that. It just feels like a solid vehicle now, how it should have come from the factory. So really, I just wanted the tune to fix the stupid shifting issues. I didn't care about the power. I didn't care about increased miles per gallon or, you know, nothing like that. I really just wanted the shifting fixed, especially as I was adding more weight to the truck with the bed rack, the rooftop tent, and the awning and stuff. I really started to notice how bad it truly was. So getting that tuned really fixed all of those issues for me. And the best part about getting it tuned, and something that I, again, completely wasn't expecting to happen, but I'm super happy it did, I gained about 2 to 3 miles per gallon in city driving, literally going from 13 to 15 tops to now in city driving, getting like at least 14, 15, all the way up to like 18, 19 sometimes. So that's super awesome. However, I will say highway driving, it hasn't really changed for whatever reason. I don't know if that has to do with like wind resistance, drag, or anything like that. Maybe the RPMs are a little high. I don't really know. But on the highway, I still get around 15 miles per gallon, and it doesn't really get much better than that unless I'm kind of like in slower traffic. So I'm super happy with the tune. Super happy with the increased miles per gallon. That's probably my favorite part about it now that I've kind of gotten over the initial, you know, change from the crappy shifting to the smooth shifting. So super happy about it. And that's been my experience the past 4 months having the OVTune. All right, so now I want to talk about whether or not I think that you should get your truck OVTune based on the type of truck you have, if you're building it out or whatnot. Obviously, everybody has a different Tacoma. You know, people have stock Tacomas, people have Tacomas with slightly bigger tires, some have 35-inch tires, some have bed racks, roof racks, bumpers, all of the above. Obviously, everyone's situation is a little bit different, and I kind of want to break it down a little bit and talk about who I think would benefit the most from getting the tune and whether or not you should get a tune on your truck. So funnily enough, I actually think that every Tacoma owner could benefit from getting their truck tuned, whether you're stock or completely built out. However, I don't think you need it if you have a stock truck. So for me, when my truck was stock, I definitely didn't feel the need to get my truck tuned. I didn't really notice as much the gear hunting and the bad shift points and whatnot, I thought the truck drove okay in its stock form, and I wasn't really too worried about it. So it wasn't until I started throwing a bunch of weight on my truck and got the bigger wheels, the bigger tires and everything, that I kind of started to feel the need to get my truck tuned. It really weighed down my truck a lot. It bogged it down, and the RPMs were shooting up like crazy on the highway. It would downshift at the slightest incline. So once I had all that weight on my truck, I definitely felt the need to get my truck tuned, so I did. So that said, I think if you have a stock Tacoma, you probably don't need to get your truck tuned unless you really feel the need to. So I think if you get bigger wheels and tires on your truck and you put a bunch of extra weight on with roof rack, bed rack, bumpers, skid plates or whatever, then at that point you'll definitely want to go ahead and get the OVTune. So that's kind of my opinion and where I stand on getting your truck tuned. So like I said, if you think you're having those issues, go get it tuned. If not, don't worry about it until you build out your truck, if you build out your truck. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, make sure to slap a like on this video if you found it to be informative so far. There's a lot more information coming at the end of this video, but make sure to hit that like button as well as drop a comment if you have any questions pertaining to the tune, or if you just want to say hi or whatever. Greatly appreciate it. Comments help just as much as the like button, so make sure to drop a comment and leave a like. All right, so at this point in the video, I want to address some of the questions that I got in the comments on my first video, because I think there's a lot of useful information in there that a lot of people would love to know about the tunes. So let's go ahead and go through those real quick, and hopefully that answers some of your guys' questions about getting your truck tuned. All right, so the first question is, how much does it cost to get your truck tuned? And honestly, the answer to that is it varies greatly depending on who you find to do the tunes or what location you're in. I've found that generally speaking, people are charging between $200 and $350 for a tune. Some people are doing it for lower than that. My guy was doing it for lower, so I think I paid like $150 for mine. So that leads into my second most popular question is, how do I get my truck tuned? So for me, I just joined my local, or I guess my state Tacoma Facebook group. So literally went on Facebook, typed in Florida Tacomas. In that group, I saw a guy posting about coming down to Florida to do a bunch of tunes. So I decided to hop on that bandwagon and get my truck tuned. So I think that honestly is the #1 way to find someone to tune your truck. In addition to that, you can hop on Tacoma World. There's an absolute ton of information on Tacoma World about tunes and a lot of people who are doing them and where to find people that are doing them. So definitely go check out Tacoma World if you don't have a local Facebook Tacoma group or anything like that. In addition to that, if you're a real do-it-yourselfer, you can always go out to VF Tuner, their website, and buy the software and the hardware that you need to do the tunes, as well as the license. All right, so another question that I got a lot was, what tune did I actually get? I don't know why, but for some reason in that first video, I didn't even mention what tune I got. So I ended up getting the OVTune 2.0 for 87 octane. There are different versions of the tunes for the different fuel octanes. If you want to go for the 93, that's obviously going to be kind of like the performance tune. You're getting the most horsepower and torque gain with that, as well as maybe even more mile per gallon gain. Not really sure, but like I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, I wasn't too concerned with the performance aspect of it. So I really just wanted the shifting issue fixed. And that's why I elected to go for the 87 octane, because #1, didn't want to pay more for gas, and #2, didn't really care about the performance gain too much. So that's the one I went with. In addition to that, guys, there are about 2 or 3 other different types of tunes these days. So off the top of my head, you know, you of course have the OVTune, that's like the OG tuner. I think there's a CVC tune, as well as a new one called KDMax. I've heard a lot of good things about the KDMax one. I think what it is, honestly, is just the OVTune with some different settings. Just customized a little bit. So I would definitely recommend looking into that tune if you are looking to get your truck tuned, because I'm hearing a lot of great things about that tune. A lot of people saying it's better than the OVTune. Definitely do some research on that. Again, Tacoma World is going to be your best resource for this, because that's where the guys that created this tune are, and the people that are creating the custom tunes, they're all in Tacoma World. So I also got a question about whether you can get your truck tuned if it's a manual. The answer to that is yes. However, I don't know too much about it and really what the benefits are there, because like I said, for me, the main thing was the shift points, and obviously in a manual, you're kind of controlling that anyway. So I think if you go for a tune when you have a manual truck, you're probably a little bit more concerned about the performance aspect. Another super popular question that I got is revolving around the ECU update, or the TSB tune as some people are calling it, from the dealership. So if you don't know already, there is an update for the ECU. Basically, you drop your truck off at the dealership, they update your ECU, they reflash it and give you this TSB tune. And I think the goal of that TSB tune is to try to solve the issue with the shifting and whatnot. So I have a couple of opinions on that. The first one being the TSB, I've heard that if you get it, it kind of helps for a little bit, and then your truck, your ECU just kind of falls back into its old bad habits and relearns out of the TSB, and it just doesn't really work long term. I have heard some good things about it. People feel really strongly about it. I actually had a guy argue with me a little bit in the comments of that first video talking about the TSB tune. He swears by the TSB tune, so maybe it's something worth going to check out. My recommendation would probably be, if you're a little worried about getting your truck tuned like the OVTune, head to the dealer, see if you can get that TSB tune, that ECU update, and see if that works for you. After that, if it's still not working for you and you still feel like there's a lot left to be desired, then seek out and go get your truck OV tuned or one of the other tunes. However, I will say, and I said this in the first video, if you are going to get your truck OV tuned or another type of tune, your ECU needs to be updated to the most recent version anyway. So you're kind of getting both if you go to get your truck OV tuned. Another pretty interesting question I got on that video was if I thought that getting your truck tuned kind of replaced the need for getting your truck re-geared. And the answer to that question is yes and no. It's very dependent on how your truck is right now. If you're on a stock truck, you definitely don't need to go get your truck re-geared. At least that's my opinion on the matter. If you have bigger tires, if you're running a bunch of weight on your truck like skid plates, bed rack, roof rack, bumper, that kind of stuff, then potentially you might want to go get re-geared. However, I will suggest that if you think you want to get re-geared or you think you need to get re-geared, go ahead and get a tune first and see if that solves it, because it's literally 1/10 the price that you're going to pay to get your truck re-geared. So I would definitely recommend going and getting a tune first, and then if you still feel like your truck's a little sluggish or whatever, and you have the bigger tires, you have all the weight on your truck, then look into getting re-geared. One of the most popular questions I got on that video and that I see in Tacoma World forums is if the tune is going to void your Toyota warranty. In my opinion, the answer to that question is yes, it would, with the caveat being if the dealer somehow finds out that you had the tune. So from my understanding, it's extremely difficult for a dealer to figure out or see that you have a tune on your truck. I don't think they have the ability really to go in and see that your truck's been tuned. I think all they can maybe see is the last time it was updated or what ECU version you're running. So I really don't think that there's going to be a scenario where something goes wrong and they can blame the tune as the reason to deny warranty work. In addition to that, there's also the Magnuson-Moss Act, where essentially the dealer would have to find a way to prove that you getting your truck tuned caused whatever issue you're trying to get warrantied. So with that said, obviously tune your truck at your own risk. Another interesting question I got on the video is how tuning your truck compares to getting something like the Pedal Commander. And I want to straight up say it's completely different. The Pedal Commander, all that's going to do is kind of mess with the sensitivity of your accelerator, of your gas pedal. It's just going to make it a little bit more touchy or a little less touchy for the eco modes. I've always been of the opinion that if I want to drive my truck more aggressively, I will just stomp on the pedal harder. If I want to drive it less aggressively, more conservatively, I just won't step on the pedal as hard. In my opinion, that's all that the Pedal Commander really does, is just change the touchiness of your throttle. Outside of that, it doesn't really do anything. Whereas with the OVTune, it's doing what the Pedal Commander does. Basically, you can tune it to have a touchier throttle response or more conservative throttle response. In addition to that, you're getting the remapping of the shift points, you're shifting a lot smoother, you're flattening out the power band a little bit. With getting your truck tuned, you're getting a lot more than just the throttle response that you're getting with the pedal commander for around the same price. So I would definitely recommend against getting the pedal commander stuff and just go and get your truck tuned. In addition to that, definitely do not drive your truck with both. So if you get your truck tuned, and especially if you have a little bit of an aggressive tune with that throttle response, don't drive with the pedal commander, because that'll be honestly kind of dangerous and you'll probably end up rear-ending someone at a red light. So definitely don't do that. Go with the OVTune. Don't get the pedal commander. All right guys, so I think I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover in this video as far as talking about the tunes. As always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop a comment below and I'll get back to you. I try to be as active as possible and respond to everyone in the comments. So if you have any questions, I'll definitely try to get you an answer. Even if you don't, drop a comment below. Let me know what you thought about the video, what you think about the tune, or just comment that my eyebrows look awesome, because I get that comment on almost every video at this point. Anyway guys, thank you so much if you made it to the end of the video and you watched the full video. Greatly appreciated. Otherwise, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the like button. And thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.